Hong Kong stocks deliver their weakest first-half report cards in 6 years, dropping nearly 11% from January to June and lagging behind regional peers. Over 85% of Wang Fuk Court owners give their nod to sell their flats back to the government. And tourism chief Rosanna Law remains upbeat on visitor arrivals target and dismisses image concerns over concert cancellations. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Cheryl Yun. Shares in Hong Kong ended the final trading day of the first half on a downbeat note, closing out a bruising 6 months with a cumulative loss of 2,749 points and extending their slide for a third straight quarter. Best Leung reports.
On the final trading day of the first half, stocks in the city opened lower, with the benchmark Hang Seng Index quickly slipping below the 23,000 mark before closing at 22,881, down 145 points. Turnover came to $308 billion. Weighed down by weakness in heavyweights and fading rate cut hopes, the benchmark index shed 2,301 points over the month, marking its worst monthly performance in more than 3.5 years. In the first half of the year, the HSI opened strongly, at one point rising above 28,000 to a more than 4.5-year high. But as the U.S.-Iran conflict erupted, lifting oil prices and dampened rate cut hopes, Hong Kong stocks weakened and slipped below 23,000, leaving the benchmark index down 2,749 points, or more than 10%, for its worst first-half performance in 6 years. Lenovo was the star blue chip in the first half, with its share price more than doubling on the strength of earnings that blew past market expectations. Wuxi EdTech was not far behind, emerging as the second strongest blue chip with a gain of more than 50% over the same period. Xiaomi was the weakest blue chip, tumbling nearly 45%. Laopu Gold, which joined the index in March, and Trip.com, which came under regulatory pressure, both fell 43%. Across Asia-Pacific markets, AI optimism continued to power gains in Korea and Taiwan, with both markets outperforming the region, surging by more than 100% and nearly 60% respectively. The Shanghai Composite rose 3%, while Hong Kong stocks lagged behind the regional peers. Best Leung Cable News.
The government said more than 85% of owners of the fire-damaged Wang Fuk Court have agreed to a buyout of their homes. Jamie Liu reports.
The Housing Bureau said as of this morning, 1,698 owners, or 85.6%, signed and submitted a letter of acceptance agreeing to sell their flats back to the government. They included 217 owners of the unscathed building Wang Chi House and 1,481 of those who own flats in the 7 affected blocks. These owners will get to be the first batch to select and buy subsidized flats offered under a special sales plan that aims to provide rehousing options to displaced residents. Writing on social media, Deputy Financial Secretary Michael Wong, who leads the rehousing efforts, said he understands residents have different views on the matter. He called on owners to confirm their intention to sell by submitting their letters of acceptance within today if they want flat selection priority. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Shifting global travel patterns and geopolitical tensions will not derail Hong Kong's tourism recovery, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law said, expressing confidence the city will meet its target of 53.8 million visitor arrivals this year. Quinton Yang reports.
Marking 4 years in office, Law acknowledged headwinds in the city's tourism sector.
citing Middle East tensions and oil price volatility that dampened short-haul arrivals in May. She also noted Hong Kong must adapt to a fundamental shift in global spending patterns. Visitors are no longer coming primarily for luxury goods, she said, pointing to rising interest in cultural and creative products. Still, she stressed that tourists remain willing to spend on distinctive offerings. She cited the Hong Kong Palace Museum's Egyptian exhibition, featuring the popular Pharaoh cat plush and related merchandise, which is expected to generate nearly $30 million in revenue. Aligned with Beijing's vision of tourism everywhere in Hong Kong, the government is expanding initiatives across all 18 districts. Law highlighted East Kowloon's potential as an emerging arts and cultural hub, centered on the East Kowloon Cultural Center. As for the financially strained West Kowloon Cultural District, Law said commercial income alone is unlikely to ensure full self-sufficiency, making strict cost control essential. She urged management to reduce spending on salaries and operations, leverage new infrastructure coming online next year, and convert traditionally free events, such as music festivals, into ticketed, revenue-generating programs. Addressing recent concert cancellations, citing force majeure, Law brushed off concerns about Hong Kong's image as an events capital, insisting the city's performance scene remains vibrant. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
The government has proposed reforms to Hong Kong's sex crime laws, including making rape gender-neutral and adding new offences related to children. An anti-sexual violence group raised concerns that the new changes still do not go far enough to stop persistent child sexual abuse. Jamie Liu reports.
The proposed amendments would adopt a uniform age of consent at 16 years old and introduce 8 new offences related to sexual abuse in victims under that age. However, the Association Concerning Sexual Violence Against Women expressed concerns that new changes still fall short of tackling persistent sexual abuse. The group said it handled around 1,100 cases of repetitive sexual abuse during childhood and only saw 89 of them prosecuted. At a radio program, the association's executive director, Doris Zhang, said it was often hard to bring these cases to the police and even secure convictions. She explained that victims often had to go over details of every incident, a difficult process for children suffering from long-term trauma. The authorities also proposed listing when sex counts as non-consensual, for example, in cases of coercion, blackmail, unlawful detention, and unconsciousness. But Chong said the list did not cover situations where the victim freezes and unable to communicate his or her refusal by resisting physically. Other proposed changes include widening the definition of rape so that not only women but also men could be victim of the crime, and replacing indecent assault, a wide-ranging offense from groping to molesting, with 2 new laws involving sexual assault with or without touching. The Security Bureau has launched a 1-month consultation. It aims to table a bill to LegCo by this year and pass it into law within the current term of government. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
The confirmed death toll from last week's twin earthquakes in Venezuela has surpassed 1,700, with more than 50,000 people still missing. As international teams continue rescuing survivors, some buried for over 100 hours, anger keeps on mounting among residents who accuse the government of a slow and inadequate response. Quinton Yang reports.
In the hardest hit La Guaira state, rescuers remain in a race against time. A 21-year-old man was pulled alive after 106 hours beneath the rubble, following a 43-hour operation by teams from Venezuela, Mexico, and El Salvador. Rescuers first had to clear nearby bodies before reaching him. He was severely dehydrated and was taken to hospital. A Salvadoran team also saved a dog from another collapsed building. However, hopes are fading. 5 days after 2 7+ magnitude quakes struck west of Caracas, The survival window is rapidly closing. More than 500 aftershocks have been recorded, including a 4.6 magnitude tremor early Monday that sent residents in the capital fleeing into the streets. Interim President Delcy Rodriguez defended the government response, saying over 25,000 military, police, and emergency personnel had been deployed, alongside specialized teams from more than 30 countries, including Italy and Ecuador. Officials also claim that 70% of electricity and 90% of roads have been restored in La Guaira, alongside the creation of 65 emergency shelters and temporary care centers. Despite this, frustration persists as residents continue digging through debris by hand, accusing authorities of delays that may have cost lives. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
An American couple has been charged with second-degree murder, torture and child abuse after their 7-year-old son, who weighed 255 pounds, died from complications linked to extreme obesity. Quentin Yang has the story.
The boy, namely Casper O'Brien, lived with his parents Damien and Jessica O'Brien in Michigan. He died last November after first responders were called to their Genesee County home when he stopped breathing. An autopsy found the cause of death to be dilated cardiomyopathy caused by morbid obesity. The boy, 1.27 meters tall, weighed 255 pounds, or 116 kilograms. His enlarged, weakened heart could no longer pump blood effectively, leading to organ failure. Prosecutors allege the couple, aged 40 and 41, fed him a steady diet of snack foods. At a February 2024 doctor's visit, Casper weighed 104 pounds, meaning he gained 151 pounds in just 21 months. He had been diagnosed with a metabolic disorder and referred to a pediatric endocrinologist, but his parents never followed up. Instead, authorities say he was left bedridden, suffering severe bed sores and rashes, and a home filled with trash. His 5-year-old sister, also morbidly obese, was found unsupervised as well. Neither child was enrolled in school, and prosecutors say no government agency, not the school district, not Child Protective Services even knew they existed. Prosecutors said the prolonged neglect caused Casper severe physical harm and immense suffering.
The dad has a good job. They have real health insurance. That morning that the child died, they had even called their veterinarian to have their dog treated.
The O'Briens are being held without bond and will appear at a probable cause hearing this Thursday. If convicted, they could face life imprisonment. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Messaging application WhatsApp is rolling out a major policy change that could reshape how users identify themselves on the platform. Bess Leung tells us more.
For the first time, the messaging app is moving towards usernames, allowing people to connect without necessarily sharing their phone numbers.
Hold still.
The change is expected to improve privacy and make it easier for users to chat, join communities, and contact businesses without exposing personal details. Under the new system, users will be able to choose a unique handle similar to other major social media platforms. Vice versa, if someone wants to reach out to a user for the first time, they will need to know the user's exact username to make contact. The move comes as messaging apps face growing pressure to give users more control over the data and personal information. WhatsApp has not yet fully launched the feature worldwide, but the policy shift signals a clear step towards a more private and flexible way of messaging. For many users, it could mean one less reason to hand out a phone number just to start a conversation. Bess Leung, Cable News.
Let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down 145 points. Top active stocks of the day. Tencent was up $9.60. SMIC was up $4.60. Hua Hong Grace was up $11. Kingboard was down $2.10. Onto the weather now, mainly cloudy with a few showers. More showers in some areas with squally thunderstorms at first. Very hot with sunny periods during the day. Temperatures will range between 27 and 33 degrees. That's our news tonight. I'm Cheryl Yun. Thanks for watching and good night.